but everybody's staring for days.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon today. Good afternoon. My name is Yetunde Ogedengbe Beatrice, and welcome to the show. And apologies that we're starting late today. As we know, as we give more time, we have more people joining us. Good afternoon once more. And today I have a special guest, Nkechi, who is a biomedical scientist, but I'll give more time for her to be able to introduce herself and to get to know you. Nkechi, over to you. Please, can you kindly introduce yourself, please?
All right. Yetunde, thank you so much for having me on this your show. My name is Nkechi Obi-Ezeobi. I am a biomedical scientist, which is called medical laboratory scientist back in Nigeria, but in the UK it's called a biomedical scientist, and I am based in the UK. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Nkechi. Thank you so much for being here today. It's a pleasure having you. Maybe for those who don't know more about Nkechi, I would like to expand more. She's a very, very powerful woman, very, very humble. She doesn't like, talking much about herself, which of course is very understandable. Nkechi is a very, very big activist. I call her an activist, someone who is very intelligent, someone who is very passionate about community development projects. As she mentioned earlier, she's a scientist, a medical scientist who have practiced in Nigeria. Not only in Nigeria, she is currently practicing, she's an expert in the UK as well. So I would say good afternoon, wherever you're watching us across the world. Once more, welcome to Pure Empowerment with Yetty. And don't forget, once we have this, after finishing this session today, the video will be very much available on YouTube. So I do encourage everyone or anyone who is later going to, watch us later, please drop your question on the chat area. And as much as we can have time, we'll always go there to answer your questions. So welcome once more to today's show. Please, if you've not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, Peel Empowerment with Yetty, like and share. And don't be the only one listening to this today. And yes, of course, please stay with us. So I will start today. It's going to be a free time with Kech. We want to steal some information, some knowledge from our dear Kech. I call her Kech. As I mentioned, she's a very powerful woman. She's here to share our experience today about how you'll be able to assess opportunity. But first of all, she will be sharing our own personal experience. So I'll just ask the question to Kech today, and then she highlight or share a light on how can we tap in experience, especially if we are coming from our home country. So Kech, would you be able to share personal experiences or advice on how you think people or international people or migrants can assess opportunity right in their home country too, in the UK or abroad?
Thank you so much for that. I would say it's explicit. It's a broad topic, and there are lots of opportunities in the UK. I must confess, there are so many opportunities in the UK that we can talk about it even with 3-4 hours. I don't know, but I'm gonna limit it down to relatable experience that people can relate to and get more information they can share back home. I'm going to start with the fact that there are many ways you can come to the UK. Let's establish that fact. There are many ways you can come to the UK. You can come as a student. You can come as a worker. You can even come as a visitor, a tourist. There are many ways. They're all over there on the Google, which if you browse about it, you see them. But I'm going to focus more on myself, which is I came into the UK as a skilled worker. So I'm going to have more knowledge, more things to share concerning how I came than other routes. There are other routes which you can read online, and since I didn't come through those routes, I may not know much about them. But I'm going to talk more about the route I came in through. Like I said in the beginning, I am a biomedical scientist, which is related as medical laboratory scientist back there in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria. So this talk will focus more on migrating from Nigeria as a biomedical scientist or as a medical laboratory scientist. So let's get that fact clear. There are many things out there people can watch, but let's streamline this our talk show to people out there who will relate it more to what I'm talking about. Um, I didn't really know much about how to migrate to the UK through work experience. I only knew about school back then in Nigeria, like a few years ago. We all knew about the Canada Express entry. We all knew about other. I didn't really know much about how to migrate to the UK as a worker. I was trying to read about the school route. So, I was trying to prepare, gather my documents. And I think towards during the COVID period, working in the lab and meeting so many people, I started reading more about how can I actually migrate into the UK as a worker, not just as a student. Then I came across HCPC, which is Healthcare and Profession Council. I didn't really know that it was existing. Yes, it had been existing for years. But you made mention about how you can tap into opportunities. And part of what we're going to talk about is you willing to do your research. You have to do your research. You have to be willing, you have to be passionate about something. So I did my research and I found that, oh, there's something called HCPC, which is Health and Care Profession Council. I'm like, okay, fine. Nobody really told me. Some people mentioned it, but I made up my mind and I went to browse about it. I browsed about it. How is it possible? What is going to happen? We're going to talk about the steps later on, maybe in the next questions. I'm just giving an overview. So in the website, there are so many information there. You can get all you need to do as a medical laboratory scientist from Nigeria, how to migrate here and work as a biomedical scientist on HCPC. Now, what HCPC does is it's a regulatory council that helps to regulate 15 professions. They're all on Google. 15 of these professions include biomedical sciences, which is what I am, radiographers, clinical scientists, chiropractors, dentistry. There are 15 professions that
mm,
this body they regulate. So when I went down to my profession, which is biomedical science, it talked about all the documents that are needed. As I when I migrated to the UK, how we were able to send our documents was through the DHL method. But thankfully, early this year, you don't need to send your documents via DHL. For many of us that are listening out there, I'm going to talk about how and the procedures later. But right now, the method of doing your registration with HCPC is online, which is very simple, straightforward, and fast. Unlike when we did our own registration, we had to gather our documents, DHL did to the UK, it was received before the other procedures, other processes took place. But right now, you don't need to waybill such things. You don't need to DHL. You just need to go online, fill in the documents, fill in all the
mm,
necessary information, upload all the documents that are asked for you to upload. Then you are good to go. You pay your scrutiny fee. During the
mm,
time of the scrutiny, what they do is that they check all the documents you've submitted and like make sure that they're authentic with all the bodies. If you're qualified, then you are registered with the council. I'm giving an
mm,
overview. Now, when you're registered, there's a number that give it to you that is called it's like your license number, or yeah,
mm,
your license or a number given to you by the council. With that, you can now apply for jobs. And there are
mm,
so many jobs as a
mm,
biomedical scientist. You can get it on NHS site, you can get it on Indeed, you can get it on Track Job, you can even get it on LinkedIn. There are
mm,
so many jobs. So when you get this site, you need to apply, log in, fill in all the necessary information that are asked of you. Make sure you apply well, which is maybe we'll do another talk on that. We'll do another talk on how you can write a good application when it comes to applying for jobs as a biomedical scientist. Then when that is done, you are lucky to get an invite for an interview.
mm,
So when you remember that when you're applying, a lot of people are applying. There are so many people applying. Outside Nigeria, there are so many people applying in the whole of Africa, in the whole of the world. People are applying as biomedical scientists who have been registered with the council. So when you're applying, you're not applying as a local person. You are competing
mm,
with internationals. So your
mm,
standard should be of international standard. Then
mm,
after that, you're lucky to get an invite for an interview. which you go through the process of normal application, an interview process, depending on the hospital, the trust. They call them trust. I'll talk about that later. It's another talk entirely. And if you get the job, and you're fortunate to pass the interview, depending on one or two stages, depending on the hospital, how they organize the interview. After that, you are given what we call the certificate of sponsorship, which is called
mm,
COS. Because now you are an international scientist. You need that. You need the trust to send to the embassy that they are sponsoring you. You're not coming on your own. So that document is very important. It's like a gold. You know that they call
mm,
COS, like a gold.
mm,
If
mm,
anybody out there understands what I'm saying, is a gold.
mm,
When you
mm.
get that, you now use it to apply for your visa and all sorts of that, and you come into the country and you start practicing as a biomedical scientist. So that is just an
Wow.
overview, like an overview of the process, which
Mm,
if you want me to break it down, I can, especially when it comes to the HCPC, we'll talk
mm,
about that. Then we talk
mm,
about because I've seen a lot of questions people ask, even on personal and on WhatsApp, people ask me a lot of questions. But
mm.
this is just an overview of how it is done from start to finish. And there I am,
Thank you
working
very
as
much.
a scientist.
Thank you very much, Kech. Thank you so much. For those who are just joining us, we have Kech here. Her full
Okay.
name, Nkechi. She's an expert. She's a specialist biomedical scientist. She has practiced many years in Nigeria, worked with top organizations. As I mentioned, Nkechi is a very, very reserved person. She doesn't like showing herself.
Oh my
But
God.
we have her as a special guest today because Nkechi has been able, apart from working in Nigeria, she's also an expert here in the UK. And Nkechi has the personal experience of being able to get a great opportunity as an expert. She's really good, right from Africa to the UK directly. So today, Nkechi is sharing how that opportunity is, how it looks like, how you'll be able to search for that opportunity. She mentioned something earlier. She mentioned something about research, which is something I talk about all the time. But Ikechi, I still have more questions for you, and I do encourage anyone who is currently watching us today. Please share this information, share this link to anyone you know who are in Nigeria or those who are in the UK who have been struggling to assess opportunity. This is a very good time for them to ask questions. Nkechi will talk about our own experience as a biomedical scientist or healthcare professional. And if you have any question, if you're from the IT side, I will be able to also answer that on your behalf. So,
Okay.
Nkechi, I have a question for you. I
All
know
right.
you've been able to talk about, how to get opportunity. I really want to we want the viewers to know about your experience. I know you don't like talking about your experience. I know you've worked with some top organizations, you've done amazing things in Nigeria, community development projects. How has that shaped your idea and how has that improved you to be able to seek opportunity in a place like the United Kingdom?
Uh, um, like you said, I wouldn't say but I am a reserved person, but that's okay. I would say that everything has to do with um your interest. And when you see yourself that you are not a local person, like you may be, I don't know where you're watching from. Could be in one part of Nigeria, one part of Africa, one interior part. I feel like, oh, am I sure I'm going to be here? You can, because I was once there. And the point I'm making is it starts from the mind. When you tell yourself that you shouldn't, you are great inside. That is where it starts from. And I know that Yetunde and I started way back many years ago, and I know what I'm talking about. And so talking about my experience, I've worked in a lot of places in Nigeria. I've worked in the private. I worked more in the private sector in Nigeria, and we call ourselves the multi specialists. Like I could work in the hematology, chemistry, or the microbiology department. If you work in the private sector in Nigeria, you understand what I'm saying because you work in all the sectors. Like you're good in all areas. So, working in Nigeria as a medical laboratory scientist, I enjoyed my experience. I was able to work with top medical lab scientists, seniors that I learned a lot of things from.
Hmm,
And but what brought about this migration journey was actually, I would say, during COVID 19. That was just my breakthrough. Because like I said at Benicia, I was trying to look at coming into the UK for masters. We were trying to read about Canada Express entry, just reading and gathering information, which brought me back to what I said earlier about research. You can't be in a place and expect you to know all the things you need to know. You need to ask questions, right? Ask the right questions. You need to make your own research. You need to go online. There are lots of things online. I can't explain that alone. There are lots of things online. Search the right thing, type the right information, and read about it. Then, thirdly, get yourself attached to positive social media platforms. One of it is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very powerful social media platform. I know there are other ones that you can feel relaxed, you want to laugh about them, maybe the other platforms, but you see LinkedIn is very, very professional. And when I joined LinkedIn, I met a lot of friends, a lot of senior colleagues who I have known that they are all progressing. I asked a lot of questions because I was determined. So it has to be your determination, your zeal. Then, when I gathered all the information I needed, I started working towards it. So it's not about you getting the information. Like now, if you go online and type about HCPC on YouTube, I am sure millions of people have given videos about this. A lot of people have said things about HCPC, have said things about migration through school. A lot of things have been said. The question is, don't just watch it and keep quiet. Watch it and find a way to do something about it and know that you're moving. So when I got the information about HCPC, talking about my experience, I gathered my documents, and the part of the documents you need. If you go online, I'm going to mention a few for those that may just want to jot them down. If you don't have an international passport, if you don't have, as I'm speaking with you, you don't have an international passport, is one of the criteria you need to start. Because I know, talking from my experience, that was the first thing I did. You understand? That was I didn't just download the document and started filling. I had to get my international passport. And speaking from Nigerian perspective of view, getting your international passport is not base. It has a process. It's so long, except you want to pay the huge amount of money. And even at that, you still have to wait. So get your documents ready, then just keep moving. So I had to get my international passport first, and when I got that, I read about all the documents I needed to get on at hand. Secondly, if you are a practicing medical laboratory scientist in Nigeria and your license is not up to date, yes, you need to have your license updated. Like, what I mean is there are so many practicing in Nigeria that their license are not. You need to update your license. So your international passport first, your license. They are very important documents you need to have ready, because other things you can just easily get them. You already have your certificate from school. Then you need also to have the course form. There's a course form that is on the website. I'm sure we're going to type in the website for you guys to watch, to go online and see it. You download the course form and you fill it. What the course form contains, you have to write all the courses you have done, because in Nigeria, medical laboratory sciences, you do it for 5 years. So from your first year to your fifth year, you write all the courses you have done. The reason why you update these courses with your school curriculum is that when you supply these documents and upload them to HCPC, HCPC has a regulatory body. They sit down and look at all the information and all the documents you've uploaded to see if it meets the standards. So they work more with standards and ethics. They have to be sure that all that you have learned in Nigeria, do they tally with the standards in the UK? These are the things they look out for before they register you. So you have this form to download, you fill it in. Then you have also something to support your application, is what we call the reference letter. It's like an ethical, something that gives the council a reason to believe that you are somebody of standard. So what I did was, to where I worked before, the places I had worked in Nigeria, I met the managers and I supplied my reference letter. It's called reference letter, which states that you are a good medical laboratory scientist, you practice well, you have standard and all that. It helps to support your application. Some people may not put it, but I'm just saying it supports. It's like it supports your application. Then another document you need is what we call the you need to have as an identity, like an address. an address they can hold on to. So most of these things are on HCPC website. I advise that you go there and check out all the documents you
Mm,
need to have handy. Then you start the
mm,
application. As I when I did my application, I had all these documents and I DHL'd it, like I said, to UK. But right now, all you need to do is you go into the website, you create your own profile, you fill in your name, your details, your professional applications. You just fill in like it's like an application online. You upload
mm,
all your documents. If you're a married lady, coming from my own aspect, if you're married and you know that probably your first degree had your father's name, but
mm,
you want to be registered here in the UK with your husband's name, you need to upload your marriage certificate. It's very easy. You don't need to fidget about it. Just because they
mm,
know you're a woman and you must have
mm,
you're married. So your
mm,
document, your BSc is intact
mm,
with your father's name, and except you want to bear your father's name here, you don't need to submit your marriage certificate. But I advise that if you want to bear your husband's name here, because in Nigeria, my name, known majorly in my application, is
yeah.
Nkechi Gochuku. But right
Mm.
now here, I answer my husband's name. So if
Thank
you're
you
doing
very
that,
much.
you need to
Mm,
upload your documents. So and that's how it's done. It's
mm,
it's kind of straightforward. And like I said, you need to be intentional about it. Even while
mm,
you apply for this, go online, start looking at how the application looks like, ask questions, belong
mm,
to groups. Don't wait until when your license is out before you start applying for the jobs, because really
mm,
you need to wait for your license to be out before you apply for the jobs. But I advise, don't wait. You don't need to apply per se, but you can start asking questions. You can start meeting people that have gone. We're here to help. You have WhatsApp friends. Let them start giving you places you need to work on, because you need to have the experience. Is very important. The
mm,
experience, you're coming to work in the UK, it's an international standard. So you need to upgrade your experience. If you're someone that probably you're working on the bench in Nigeria as a medical laboratory scientist, you need to upgrade your experience. You understand what I mean? So these are the things one needs to start asking questions. You go online, you read, how is it practiced over there? How do I channel myself into the right family? These are
mm,
things you need to start doing before your license
mm,
comes out. So that when your license
mm,
comes out, you can now start applying for jobs, which,
mm,
like I said, is
mm.
the talk on its own. So that's just a summary of the journey ahead and how it all went
Thank
about.
you very much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kech. Thank you so much. Before we continue, I just wanted to acknowledge those who are here already.
Okay.
Chibike, thank you so much for joining. Oladeji, thank you so much for joining. And for those who are watching us right now, once more, I mentioned we have Nkechi Kech, call her Kech, and she's a registered HCPC, registered biomedical scientist in the UK, and of course, registered back in Africa, in Nigeria. And
Okay.
she's sharing her experience today on how to get opportunity from your home country directly to the UK. And Ikechi, you mentioned something which is very amazing. You mentioned something about being intentional
Yeah.
about what you need to do. Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Olaide. Thank you so much for joining. I have some questions here. I'll just pick about two questions before we continue.
All right.
I still have some questions for you. So here, GBK is asking, of course, he said, okay, this one will be for me. I will take this one and then I'll move to the other question.
Oh, that's fine.
So I'll be coming to the UK for my master's September to study computer science and engineering, which is very good. Welcome.
Good.
I'm not
Good.
sure, just for Chibike, have you applied? Have you gotten your visa? From what you've mentioned, it shows that you've gotten the right steps. You might have applied for visa. As
Mm-hmm.
Ikechi mentioned, in anything you do, please be intentional. Also, our guest speaker here, Ikechi, mentioned about being positive and planning yourself ahead. Being intentional is very important. So um, please be intentional. And here to Ikechi, Oladeji has said, what you've been saying this morning have been very informative. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're
So here,
welcome.
yeah. I mean, I know Nkechi, you've shared experiences about, being a medical scientist. And my understanding is that, being intentional is something that everyone needs to do,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of whether you're coming to work as an healthcare specialist or an IT specialist. So
Exactly.
Henry asked a question that, please, what are the procedures and some of the good job opportunity for IT. So I will talk about some of the job opportunity, but I will still want Nkechi to talk about the general things
Okay.
a particular person needs to do. You mentioned one, being intentional. Now, what else do you think someone needs to do? How do they prepare? As someone who is a novice of getting a job in the UK, I know for with HCPC, with biomedical scientists, they can go online, get a form. Now, being intentional, what are the things, attributes do you think a person should have before they can get any type of job in the UK?
Okay. You also, apart from being intentional, you need to be positive, which Yetunde has said. Talking about it generally, I know a lot of people, even where I stay, that are students. Okay, so if someone you're just watching, you just logged in and you have no idea what we're talking about, you need to know that yes, in as much as you're coming here, you also need a little finance. I have to be sincere about it. You need a little finance too, because when you get the right information, even while you're trying to apply as a healthcare personnel or going through the student route, gather your information. That's part
Mm,
of being proactive. Ask the right
mm,
questions, because I know of someone that actually came in as a student. Yeah, she already had masters in Nigeria, and she came in to do another masters. So you
mm,
can actually look at ways in which, how can I move forward? So if you know that you're positive, one, you have to be positive. When you are positive about something, you go extra mile to find out, what do I need? What do I do to ensure that I
mm,
scale through? Then ask, be involved in groups. I know of so many groups on WhatsApp, on
mm,
Facebook, on
mm,
Instagram, or even on different platforms. Ask the right questions. I remember a colleague of mine that was trying to prepare for her international exam, and she thinks she joined the Telegram group or so. There's so many information that she got from Telegram group that she didn't even know existed.
mm,
Information is power. So get yourself involved with a lot of groups, positive groups,
mm,
and ask questions. Then you make sure that yes, you have covered this basis. Thirdly, get your documents. You
mm,
need to get your document, because in the UK they believe in fairness. If you're coming here and you don't have those skills that they need from you, or they are saying, I'm sorry, there are a lot of people that have it more than you, they just pick those ones.
mm,
Okay, so you need to get your documents. I will advise also from the point of view coming from a medical practitioner. There's what we call a continuous professional development. It's known as CPDs back
mm,
there in Nigeria. Everywhere, even here, we do CPDs. So, what part of things that help too, you could go online, even if you are not a medical personnel. Let me just say generally, every profession has something, short courses they
mm.
do. Maybe for us, we call it CPDs. I don't know what they call it in other, but it's
Yeah,
something related to that.
it's me.
Get yourself,
Mm,
if for instance, like someone that's asking for computer science, you could go
mm,
online and check out what are the opportunities in computer science over here in the UK. Once you
mm,
see anyone, you read more about it. It gives you an edge. You have an idea, because sometimes when you prepare and an opportunity comes, you just tap straight into it. So CPDs also can help. It helps to know that you have gotten more knowledge, more understanding about how it is practiced here in the UK. Because to be sincere, there's a little difference, because you're coming to an international standard and you need to get
mm,
yourself internationally prepared. So,
mm,
thirdly, we talked about finance too. Fourthly, sorry,
mm,
I have to mention finance, because you need money too. Whether you're coming through the student route, you're coming through health working route, you need finance too. So once you have gathered this information, you start looking at the opportunities that you can, the finance, and where you can tap into to see how you can come in. There are other places where you can have what we call the STP. I'm gonna chip it in as a medical practitioner. It's the scientific scientist training program. What
mm,
STP does is, I think they did an application recently, early this year. It's done yearly, so it's like a scholarship per se, but it's not totally a scholarship. What it does is the NHS sponsors it. So what NHS does, they send the link out there. You fill a form, you go through the interview process. It has so many processes, but it helps for people that may not have the fund to fund themselves. So what it does, if you're successful after the, maybe we'll give another video concerning STP, scientist training program. because many people do not know about it. Yes, there was one that I was held recently, but it's just something that they know. Maybe we'll give another talk on that. So what it does is, if you're lucky to come on board as an STP under the NHS, you'll be schooling and be working.
Mm,
Okay. Yes, you'll be schooling. It's a 3-year program. So people that
mm,
are eligible to apply for this, luckily, are not just the biomedical scientists alone. No, you have the life science, those that have life science degree, those that have even bioinformatics. Yes, the med lab are involved, and other science courses. So it's
mm,
also an opportunity for people that do not know. You can read about it. We'll give another video about that to help them understand. So STP helps most people too. When they come here, they are schooling and working. So the NHS, you're working and being paid, and you're schooling. After
mm,
3 years, you now have a specialty you can now decide to go into, which could be a lot of specialties. You cannot choose one you
mm,
go into. So it also helps. It all boils down to information,
mm,
information, and information. So my
mm,
advice is to somebody that is out there in one remote village or somewhere, or just somewhere that feels, are you sure I can even leave this country? You can. You can. It has to be with your belief, has to be with what we are doing right here, giving you that information, which some of us had to browse to get it, but you have it at the platter of our good right now. Utilize it. Once you have gotten the information, everybody's path is different. There are some people
mm,
that want to come in through this path, through that. Choose what you want to come in with and focus on it. Start getting all the necessary documents. And once you've gotten it, work towards it. Don't just get it. Work to give yourself a timeline. It could be this year, it could be next year, it could be in 5 years' time, but you know that you're doing something about it. So these are just a summary of what I feel that most people need to know to make sure that they migrate well and successfully.
Thank you so much, Nkechi. Thank you so much, Kech. That is so powerful. For instance, you mentioned about STP, and from what you've mentioned is an NHS program. Now,
Yes,
most people don't know about these opportunities.
I
And there's
see.
one thing you mentioned, which is very powerful. You mentioned being positive, making research and asking questions. And
Yes.
it's the same thing I do stress about in my previous videos I've mentioned. And the same, I'm really glad that you're, bringing this into practice, bringing this into this show today. And hopefully, I would need to organize another show actually, because
Yeah, that'd be nice.
yes, because I've been receiving private messages and people want us to talk about opportunities. And this STP, for instance, you can dig more into it, create a show, come up with a show and share this
Okay.
information for people, because people don't know about these things. Some people don't have that culture of going online to search, and which is what you've mentioned today. People should go online to search, to seek for knowledge. And
Exactly.
one thing I do tell people, in this country or in the UK, when people come into the UK, nobody come to tell them things. They believe as an adult they should be able to make research on their
I'm
own.
telling you.
So, and it's the same thing, and one thing I do tell Nigerians, I mean, not only Nigerians, we can have people watching us from Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, our Asian country. And I just wanted you to share some light on this. I know last week I had a show, I talked about, some unwritten rules. I call them unwritten rules. Unwritten rules in the sense of that things happen here, laws, regulation in terms of abiding to work ethics and the rest. Now, from your own personal experience, were you told what to do? If yes, how were you able to meet people to tell you how you need to how you need to put
Ah,
things in place
I'm
at your place
laughing.
of work?
I'm laughing because because I'm happy you brought up this particular. I know. Let me just put it for you. You're talking about the culture shock. Let me just, if that's what they call it. I did not see. Let me tell you, people did not come to tell me all these things. But
Mm,
I am someone that is always inquisitive. So I
mm,
try as much as possible to browse and browse and browse. Even months before I finally migrated, I was
mm,
browsing. What did I not read? I cannot think of anything I did not read on, because
mm,
I just wanted to know, where am I going to? This is
mm,
not going to be Nigeria, because I'm going to another place. So my
mm,
advice is, even if you're not migrating to UK, because our talk is on UK, fine, but even if you're going to Canada, US, Australia, any country, please read about the country, because here in the UK, I see signages everywhere. They tell you that ignorance is not an excuse. I see
Mm.
it's written all over. Ignorance is not an excuse. So they expect that you have come into this country, you should know. You understand?
Mm.
Nobody will come to you and tap you on your shoulder and say, "Oh, you are not supposed to do this." You should know. I'm gonna give very, very funny things that happened to us. Um, I'm speaking from experience and from Nigeria. So permit me, if you're not from Nigeria, I know you may have your own ways of doing things in your country. In my
Mm.
country, we didn't have this talking about the road traffic. We didn't have this. There's this one we have in the UK that if you want, you can control traffic yourself. You understand Yetting, right? You can control
Exactly.
yourself. You just want to cross and press the button, share, and the thing will leave. It's not in my country. I don't know. Maybe it's in some part of Nigeria, but where all the places I've stayed in Lagos, I've stayed in Abuja, I've stayed in Port, I didn't see it. So maybe someone will now come and tell me that it's in Kano or somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't know. But the places I've stayed, they were not there. So
Mm.
I was going somewhere and I stood on the road. I wanted to cross. I stood. Nobody stopped for me. I was standing. Nobody stopped for me. The thing was on green. I was like, when will this thing turn to red for me to
Right.
cross? Until when somebody just came and just pressed the button. And you know the funny thing, the button was right in front of me. I didn't even know.
Wow.
So when he pressed it, we waited for a few seconds and everywhere
Mm.
the light turned red. We crossed. As when it turned red, every car stopped. This is the busy road. Every car stopped. We crossed. I'm like, oh, really? So there's some. This is just one out of many. One out of
Mm.
many. So the culture here is they live their own life, and
Mm.
maybe you're coming from a place where you have so many reservations. You just have to
Mm.
adjust. You just have to come in and understand their system and work
Mm.
with them. Another
Mm.
scenario that happened recently in my office, we have one of our porters who turned 84 years, like
Mm.
84, Yetunde, 84 years,
Mm.
In Nigeria, that's like a grandpa, right? But you see him
Exactly.
very hard working and still healthy working. And
Mm.
I can't call him by his name because in my culture, you dare not. Like if someone is, you can't even try it. But anytime you call
Mm.
him Mr., he corrects you and tells you he's not a
Mm.
Mr. Call him by his name. I
Mm.
found that so hard to adjust.
Mm.
For months, I kept making that mistake because
Mm.
here you call people by their first name. There is no Mr., there is no Mrs., there's no Chief, there's nothing. Just call me by my first name. So I found it hard to adjust to that, but finally I started adjusting to it. So these are the
Mm.
things you're gonna see. And to
Mm.
them, it's normal, but to you, it may look strange. You have to
Mm.
learn how to come into their country, come into the UK, and understand and flow with them. Thirdly,
Mm.
they don't like noise. Do you understand?
And we that
That's
we like parties in our in our own place.
Nigeria is party area. They don't like noise. If you want your neighbors to love you, please don't make noise. Okay? If you want to be in your house, do whatever. Don't come out and start shouting. No. In fact, say call on you and just come and take you away. They do not like noise. So
Mm.
these are things like where I stayed in Port Harcourt. Like if there's no noise, there's a problem. Like, everywhere has to be bubbling.
It's
you
not
know,
normal if there's no noise.
you understand? So these
Yeah.
are the little things you come and see,
Mm.
and you have to know about them. So coming to your question, which is, yeah, there are so many things they didn't tell me, but there are some things I learned myself, like I read about them. So if you're coming to
Mm.
the UK, I'm going to advise you, whether you're coming in as a student or as a worker or as a visitor, go online to UK Gov sites.
Mm.
Go with their Gov site. There is nothing on earth you are looking for concerning this country that you will not see there. There
Mm.
is nothing. I mean nothing. So this is what we talked about information. Everything
Mm.
you want to housing, school fees, work, childcare, benefits, this,
Mm.
that. I can't explain it all. Car, you want to own a house, you want to buy a car, it's all there. I don't know.
Mm.
It's so much. Like you can spend weeks reading everything there. So go to
Mm.
UK Gov sites, search what you're looking for. You can just type what you're looking for. If you're a student, just type jobs in my area. Just type it. It will give you the rules and regulation. Am I to work 40 hours, 37 hours as a
Mm.
student? What if I work more than this? Am I penalized? They have rules. They have rules and
Mm.
regulations. So these are the
Mm.
things you need to read and get yourself prepared. Don't come and say it's business as usual. There is no
Mm.
ignorance here. I'm not joking.
Exactly.
No ignorance. Because what recently happened to me, particularly, which I must say, in
Mm.
Nigeria, you can just go to any place and park your car. Like you can just park,
Yeah.
buy things, and walk out. You don't park anyhow in the UK here. You get a fine for it. Do you
Mm.
understand? So they will write there that ignorance is not an excuse, but you go and park there, no problem. Just park and drive your car and go out. They know where
Mm.
you're staying. Beautiful thing about the country is there is a beautiful database here. Everything
Mm.
is on every you're moving and somebody knows where the government knows where you're living. Do you understand? So
Mm.
you can't really the security is good. So if you feel like you can just park in there, stay for hours, which you're not supposed to, and move out. As you're reaching your house, in the next 2 days, you will see a fine. A fine
A
is
fine
waiting.
coming at your door.
Yeah.
Yes,
Even
exactly.
illegal parking on the road, they give you a fine to that. So these are
Mm.
the things you need to know before you
Mm.
come. You don't just come and feel, oh, you are area. No, there's no area here. So read
Exactly.
about it, get yourself prepared, get yourself ready.
Mm.
Now, talking about your profession, you could be coming in as a radiographer, as a dentist, as a nurse, whatever profession you're coming in as, know that it's not business as usual. Okay.
Mm.
I don't know where you are. You could be practicing in one of the best hospitals in Nigeria. Good for you. You're
Mm.
very lucky. You're one of the lucky ones. But there are
Mm.
some that did not have or do not have such opportunities to use sophisticated machines. Talking
Mm.
from my own aspect of view, either the radiographer where you use a lot of machines, you're going to see them here when you come. So, what
Mm.
our advice is, if you cannot have a hand experience on them, why don't you go on YouTube,
Mm.
read about it, watch it? It happened to me. There are so many sophisticated machines I use here currently. There are a few of them we didn't have in Nigeria. So when
Mm.
you know that you're going to come here, you're going to work in such a place that is of international standard, what do? You get yourself prepared.
Very true.
Everything is online. You can go to YouTube, type the name of the equipment or the name of the whatever. I don't know. I'm just talking from my own aspect. It could be even a radiographer, one CT machine that is so big that you never use in your life. And that's what you're going to be using. Why don't you go online? Go to YouTube, watch the procedure, how it's done. When you have that mental picture in your head, when you
Mm.
come here, it's very easy to blend in and they are going to train you. So it's much easier when you already have an idea what it is and you
Mm.
come here and get trained on it. So my advice is to my fellow youths out there coming into this country for any route you're looking for, get prepared. Read
Let's
and
go.
read. Get
Mm.
yourself prepared. Go to the site, watch videos, watch YouTubes, and get prepared so that when you come here, you'll be like, oh, this is what I read about. Oh, this is what I saw. Oh, this is it. This is it. You'll now be picturing things and it flows well into
Mm.
your lifestyle. You'll be able to fit in more. But if you didn't know all the
Mm.
things I just mentioned, you just flew, entered plane, and came down straight here, you're going to be shocked because
Mm.
there are so many cultural differences here.
Mm.
Because this country has both the blacks, we have the Philippines, we have the
Mhm.
Asians, we have the
Mm.
British, we have different mixed races here. So
Mm.
you have to be prepared to be able to walk intertwine with everybody peacefully. Do you
Mm.
understand? Because in your country, you could be working in maybe in the western part of Nigeria, and everybody there is Yoruba. You'll be working in the
Mm.
eastern part, you work a lot with Igbos. So like, oh, no problem. Here you're working with everybody, different race. So you need to also learn how to live and work with different races. That is
Mm.
also another point. What
Mm.
you works for you, Yetunde, may not work for me. Do you
Very
understand?
true.
You could be an Asian and the culture you have is different from my culture. I need to look at yours and accept you, and you look at mine and accept me. Understand?
Mm.
So these are
Mm.
the things that you need to read and get yourself prepared and say, okay, fine. Don't be shocked when they happen to you. Don't be shocked.
Mm.
Just like you've read about them and now you're experiencing it. You're not surprised per se. So I could go
Mm.
on and on and on and on. But the summary of it all is go out there, do your own research, go to UK
Mm.
Gov site and
Mm.
read because to them here, ignorance is not an excuse.
It's
You're
an
gonna pay
excuse.
through your nose. You will pay through your nose for any nonsense you do here. Or if you're not
Mm.
even arrested. So please
Mm.
read very well, cross your T's, dot your
Mm.
I's, before you carry your load and start coming. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Kech. That was very informative. One thing I learned is you mentioned ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah.
Something I've actually added up down here, and you're very correct, you're very right. And you mentioned something about reading. I hope our viewers are watching right now. Please, if you're watching us, you've not subscribed on Peace Empowerment with Yeti, please subscribe. Very easy, just click on the subscribe button. Sometimes it can ask you to put in your email. Please do that by supporting this channel. And also share to anyone you know who would need this opportunity. We have a lot of youths in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, all across the world who are willing to go abroad to get a career, a good career prospect, or to be able to move their life to the next level. As Nkechi has mentioned, Kech has mentioned, do your research, ask questions. Ignorance is not
An excuse.
an excuse. So the way of life here is different from the way of life back home. There's no shortcut. She's mentioned it. There's no, I don't know. I never knew it was like this. Nobody came to meet me. Nobody knocked on my door. It does not operate that way. I want to answer some questions here from one of our viewers, and I will take that question. It's focusing on computer science and engineering. So the person is talking about, opportunities in engineering. Nkechi has mentioned what Nkechi has mentioned, what Kech has mentioned today is applicable to any job, any field. Now, Kech has mentioned about researching. If you're coming here after your studies, don't forget as a student, you're only entitled to 20 hours a week to work. But if you're as a dependent, you are entitled to work as many hours as you want. So let's say for you as a student, if you finish your studies, you have a lot of time, you have the 2 years graduate visa to work. Please, there are a lot of opportunity. Kech mentioned earlier about CPD. What most people don't know is that here in the UK, it's not about your first class or your distinction.
No.
Am I correct,
You're so
Kech?
correct. You are so right. They focus more on experience. How much do you know? You could even be a third class from Nigeria. But when you come here, you grasp fast. You're just good. You'll be surprised you get a lot of let's say good accolades than someone that had the first class in Nigeria. So they believe more on they believe more in your work. They want to see it and know that you're good at it. Not that you just crammed and poured everything. Yes, and you came out of first class. You don't know anything. No, you could even be third class back then in Nigeria. You are doing better than someone that is a first class. So here they believe more in your output. What do you have up here? Output, not just taking in. What do you want to bring? You have to contribute to the development of your company, of your place, or anywhere you are. It doesn't matter your class. Let me just mention that one. So don't feel like, oh, this thing is for people that have first class now. No. Or people that have two. No. If an opportunity comes to you, it doesn't matter your class. I've known a lot of people that came out with third class in Nigeria. Here they are doing well. They came for master and they are just flying above others. So it doesn't have to do with your class. It has to do with your outputs. What can you bring out from you? How creative you can be. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Kech. That was very informative. So, Chibike, as you've mentioned, it's applicable to any role. Of course, healthcare career, healthcare jobs, IT, computer science are in high demand. Kech mentioned something about gov.uk. That website is a very powerful website. Kech mentioned earlier, things are very organized here, not just only the UK, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand. I'm not saying these are not organized in Africa, but the way of life and of course, there's a whole lot of difference. Come on, there's a whole lot of difference. Kech mentioned an example of traffic lights in Nigeria, traffic lights in the UK. They are different. So you need to, yeah. So viewers, as you're watching me right now, please learn about where you're going to. It starts from where you are, your research, ability to ask questions, and you being on this platform is also a stepping stone for you. You can either ask me a question or ask Kech or any of our guests who is going to be coming in. So don't worry. I know this show is 1 hour, but I promise I'm going to be bringing back Kech again because I believe there's so many things we can learn from her. We would like to tap out of our knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. So Kech will be having you again. And then
Okay.
this time around, we'll promote the show in advance so that we can have more people join, so more people don't miss out. And
Okay.
then for those who are watching us, please like and share. If you know anyone who this information will benefit, it will benefit a lot of people. Please share. Don't be the only one to get this information and keep to yourself. Be your brother's keeper. Share this information and help other people. Lift other people by sharing this, subscribing, and liking. So another question here from someone, still the same question about IT jobs. As I mentioned, there are lots of opportunities. The idea or the skills or what you need to know that Kech mentioned about research, is applicable to any job. There are lots of them. Kech, yeah,
Can I chip in something? I
yes,
see a
please.
lot of questions on IT and IT. Yes, you have said it. There are ITs of high demand. It's not really
Mm,
only in UK. IT is a very lucrative area. But maybe the person's question could be, how do I come in?
mm,
Because you need to come in first. Before you talk
mm,
about, if you're talking about jobs, don't bother. There are jobs. I'm not saying there are jobs. IT, health,
mm,
finance,
mm,
sales, there are
yeah,
jobs. Do you understand?
mm,
The question is, how do I come in? So if you're an IT personnel, maybe you read computer science or you are into that field, the question should
mm,
be, how do I come in? Now, because
mm,
you're not a you're not into health, which I know
mm,
the route very easy. Like I know the route, I can explain the route. I may not know the
mm,
route for IT. I don't know if there is a direct job. There could be. I'm not
mm,
sure. It's not my area of expertise. Maybe we
mm,
can bring someone that is into that line now that you're mentioning it. If it is possible for them to get a job
mm,
directly from Nigeria or anywhere straight into the UK. That could be where
mm,
the person is asking the question from. Okay,
mm,
so it's not my area. I may not go into, but there's nothing wrong in you going online to search about it, because I know
mm,
even there was a time I was browsing about companies that can sponsor from abroad. I saw some
mm,
IT companies. So
mm,
because it's not my line, I didn't really go deep into it. I now delved into the medical part. So if you're an
mm,
IT person and you're asking that a question, go online and type in companies in UK that can sponsor from abroad. You could be
mm,
surprised you get companies. Now, when you have gotten one, you browse about it, you ask questions, because I know there might be. All right. So if
mm,
for adventure, that area is another one. The second area also you can look at is to the student route. You can come
mm,
in because there are so many courses. There are so many courses you can do on in the university related to IT that makes you
mm,
come into the country. Then when you are now in the country, you now be asking if there are jobs. You are the one that will start running away from jobs when the jobs start coming. Do you understand? So maybe the person's question is, can they get a job from Nigeria as an IT personnel? Maybe
mm.
we
Yeah,
can jot that down and get an
all
IT
right.
specialist to give us, if it
Definitely,
is possible, how can they go about it? Okay.
definitely,
Yes, that's
definitely,
an area we can work on to. It will
definitely.
help
Thank
them.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much for expecting on that, Kech. I think I'll
Okay.
just talk more on that IT side. Thank you. Olaide on the chat mentioned about IT, tap it into free training. Now we have in my last video, I did a video last week and I mentioned some links. So I would advise that person, please go on my last video, the one I did last week Sunday, go and copy some links. An example is Grad Cracker. We have Grad Cracker. Grad Cracker is a very good website. It's called
Wow.
Grad Cracker. Very good website for IT and engineering jobs. For students who are looking for internship, maybe you are coming to do a master's in the UK or an undergraduate degree, and then your school will give you an internship, maybe 1 year, 6 months, 8 month internship. You can apply for those internship jobs through Grad Cracker in very reputable organizations in the UK. And
Mm.
most of the company, after you finish, if you're very hardworking, your line manager likes you, or probably you're doing well to improve the organization, you can then be sponsored in that organization. So, Sketch, you mentioned about CPD. There are lots of free CPD. Thank you so much, Olaide, because he's mentioned that there are lots of free online courses, experiences. Now, I just wanted to expatiate more on the experiences you talked about, Ketch. Now, we
Okay.
have different ways students can get experiences, or dependents can get experiences, or anyone who are in their own country, whether in Africa or in Asia, can get experiences now. For instance, we have some universities that recruit student ambassadors. Now, those ambassadors can go into the international office, support with telecommunication, support with
Exactly.
maybe. Those are the ways students can build experiences. Or maybe you want to apply for a part-time job with your 20 hours in any, even in fact, maybe you are dealing with grocery stores, you're dealing with their payments and tails, their payment machines. Those are the way of increasing or improving their experiences. Or maybe somebody is doing freelance support. If you're a designer, you are a computer science, you're doing freelancing job, maybe at home, 20 hours. It's also a way of getting experiences. And one thing, Kech, you mentioned is about having that experience. It's not just first class, second class, or third class. And one thing,
No.
exactly. So one thing unique about the UK is, what do you have upstairs? If you don't have anything, we understand that in Nigeria, for instance, or in Ghana, some teachings can be theoretical. They are not much practicals. Now, it's not left to us as an adult to go online. You mentioned something about going online on Google, going on YouTube to learn. For instance, if I go online and say I want to learn about coding, I type coding as an example.
Oh
There are
Lord, Lord, thou can come in. The
exact,
Lord. Mm-hmm.
exactly lots of free classes that will teach people how to code. That alone could be a way of learning some things, and then you put it into practice. For instance, you have people you can freelance for. Some will give you some, some changes just for you to design something for them or to code for them. So it's one thing we do advise people who are here to study. In as much as you are here to study, of course, 20 hours your students are restricted to, but your dependent as well has opportunity of working full time, and you can gain those little experiences in the UK plus the one you've gotten back in your home country to get an opportunity after studies. This is so informative. Thank you so much, Kech. I'm really grateful. I still have questions for you here.
All right.
I know some of them you might have mentioned. You've told us how we can prepare. Now, there's something we want to ask you. I know from your own personal self, you know, how were you able to organize yourself? Number one, you are a mother. Number
Oh my
two, you are
God.
involved in so many things. You mentored a lot of people. I could remember my experiences with you. I've gained a lot from you while I was in Nigeria. You are a very, very great person with a very great personality. Now, not everybody have that multitasking skills. Now, in order to help people who are watching us or those who will come back to this video to watch, how can they manage themselves, either as a mother, as a wife, or as a husband, or someone who is even single, who is having a lot to do in their life? How were you able to manage your career? Were you able to manage your own dealings in Nigeria, at the same time being able to register to HCPC and getting a job? Not just a job, but a very high-skilled job in the UK. We want to learn from you. We want the viewers to learn from you.
Oh
So
my
over
God.
to you.
You said so that I don't like talking about some things. Now you want me to say something. Well, I just want to mention about goals. You know, when you were asking your question, that was what just came to my mind, and that's exactly what it is. It has to do with your goals. And I'm coming from a part where in a western, in the western part of Africa, which is Nigeria, and being a woman, being a wife, being a mother, it has, like you said, there are so many things to do at the same time. Yeah, men have theirs too, but being a woman, you have so many things. But your goals, just know what you want. What works for A may not work for you, but the idea you learn from A and know about your own part. So what helped me was I had the book which I came with, because sometimes when ideas come to your head, you just need to write them down. So I had a book I had that I used to write a lot of things, and I set some priorities, some goals, some areas I need to work on, some things I need to do with. It just has to do with your arrangement and how you're able to carry yourself. So I am someone also that I like asking a lot of questions. If you know me back then in Nigeria, I ask a lot of questions. I read about so many things online. So as I'm reading, as I'm asking questions, I'm jotting them down. I personally went on LinkedIn. Part of what helped me when I got my license, I went on LinkedIn and I started searching for people that are already practicing in the UK. I just started searching for people, searching for. Once I see that you are HCPC, you're working in the UK, I add you to my friend list. I send you a friend request. I don't care if you know me, I just send you a friend request. I wanted to connect with people. So it has to do with stages. I tried to connect with people because I wanted to come into what they were doing. So I needed to learn from them how they were able to do that. So it has to do with priority, how you're able to manage all this alongside your family. If you're doing all this, it doesn't mean that you have 100% to that. You allocate time and time to everything. There is time for this and there is time for that. Sometimes when I'm off work in Nigeria, that's when I have the time to do all these things I mentioned, browse, constructive browsing, read about some things. When it's time to do the house chores, I do the house chores. When it's time to do this, so you just have to try to prioritize things, and so you don't stress yourself, because you as a woman, you also need to rest. You need your mental health to be at peace. So you need also to rest in the midst of all this. So that book was what helped me. There are so many things I would just think of. I write it down immediately, and it was what helped. When I forgot some things, I went back to them. So when the job came and we did our visas and it was time to move, I moved to another stage. So the point I'm making is, when I was at the stage of registration with HCPC, I was gathering information that had to do with that. I didn't bother about visa. So you know how to prioritize things. I didn't ask so much questions yet about that. I was asking questions about how do I go about this. And when I was done with that stage, I moved to the next stage. Okay, now I've gotten the job. We're moving to the next. We talked about visa because it was my first time of leaving the country. I don't know of others. There are some people that have left to and fro, to and fro. Me, it was my first time. So I needed to ask all the relevant questions. And we got to the time for visa. Okay, we want to apply for this. And so many people came with the fact that, are you sure you can go with your family? Why don't you go alone first? You don't even know the country you are going to. Go alone first. Yes, it can work for anybody. If you want to come alone first as a married woman with kids, stay for a few months before your family can join you. It's still good. If you want to come in first as a married man, stay for some months before your wife and kids or kid can join you. It's still good. It had to do with what do you want. But for me, I had to come with everyone. It was quite shocking and surprising because a lot of people kept saying, how will you people survive? It's too much. Family of four, how will all of you come? I said, don't worry, we were just working it out. We asked the questions. I had some people on LinkedIn that I had not even met till date, but I see them like my mentors, and some of them encouraged me that you can do it. They did it. So I started asking people that came with their family at once. Are you getting my picture? So if you're someone that you don't want to come with your family, you can ask people that didn't come with their family how they're able to do it. I wanted to come with my family. So I looked for people that came with their family at once. They were the ones guiding me. Just the way I did. If you have a family and you want to come all at once, I can now guide you because I did mine. Do you understand? So I started asking people that came with their family, husband and wife and kids all at once. They were the ones I kept asking questions. How do I go about this? They told me what to do, told me what to do. My husband and I were able to do everything, did the visa. Then when we got to the part of accommodation, how to get accommodation in the UK, they were like, oh, it's very difficult to get accommodation from Nigeria. You need to come and know and do this and do that. I asked those set of people again, how did you do it? So that's the point I'm making. If you know you're coming in through this route, I'm just giving you this example because it was my experience. So look, target your own audience, or related audience. No, target your own channel and the people that went through that same route. Ask them the questions you're asking, because you could be asking me some things and I don't understand because I didn't go through that method. So that was what happened. We all came in together. It was surprising to a lot of people, but we achieved it. So the point I'm making is it is doable. But if at the other side you want to come alone first, you are the principal applicant, it's still beautiful. You can come alone, get to know the environment where you are, relax, settle down, get a good accommodation, then you can bring your family in. So that was how we're able to organize. Or because bear in mind that when your spouse come, you are the principal applicant or the primary sponsor. You are the one tied to the job that brought you in.
Very
But
true.
your spouse is freelance. Your spouse
Exactly.
is even enjoying more than you. Your spouse
Exactly.
is freelance. Your spouse can work 3 jobs, four
Yeah.
jobs, anytime, morning, afternoon, night. Your spouse
Mm-hmm.
can do anything. But you, it is written on your own certificate of sponsorship, the job that brought you,
Hmm.
that's the job you focus on. In fact,
Hmm.
before you even do another thing, I think you will even take permission from
Hmm.
your employer if you can do a side hustle. Do you
Hmm.
understand? I know
Yeah.
many people may be doing it, but they have not done it. I'm sure if I want to, I may know how they did it and ask questions. But if you are the principal applicant, it is a job that brought you in that you're focused on. But your
Yeah.
spouse can do any job, care, whatever job they want, any hour is associated, they can all do anything they want. So this was how we're able to do everything, and we came in, and here I am, few months, and I'm still here.
Thank you very much, Kech. That was so good. Thank you so much.
Um,
I also thank you so much. That was very, very clear and precise. And as I mentioned, is there's something powerful about learning from people who have been there, who have been through the journey. And as I mentioned, your story is very, very, very amazing. It's inspiring. And I hope every of our viewers can, you can learn from that. It's not, you don't have to be in the medical field before you get opportunities. It all depends on how well you can search for that opportunities. Opportunities will not come knocking at your doorstep. You have to go for it, ask questions, as Kech has mentioned, do research. Now, I'll just answer this question. Adam Oladimeji said, do you have information about job? I will answer that one. Do you have information about job prospects for agri-food technologists in the UK? So now, in reality, most jobs in demand are medical fields. We have radiographers, of course, we have IT people, we have nursing and some other ones. But there are also jobs. There are actually jobs in the UK. Now, the
yeah,
only reason why they would not give you that job is you have the visa to work. Now, what I want to tell that person is what makes you outstanding from other British agri-food technologists. That is where the comments of Nkechi having a CPD, the comment from a viewers here, Olaide talking about free training.
training.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are actually food companies in the UK. They are food companies. There are places, they are, what can they call it? You can even work, if you can work in a care home, yes, if you choose to. Maybe you want to be in charge of the feeding of those who are vulnerable. You want to work in, let's say, people who deal with children, the nutrition for children. There are many ways. Now, what now make you different? As an agri-food technologist, you have to look for where can I specialize? Do I want to just work in an organization? We have lots of them. We have Bakavo. We have lots of them. Some, food manufacturing company, sweet manufacturing company, agri-food technology. Food is very important. And there's no place you go to that you don't see people. Everybody must eat food. That's the truth. And the UK here, there are a lot of processed food. A lot of organizations that do deal with packaging and the rest. So now, the person doing the agri-food technologies, what makes you different? That is where CPD, which Ketch mentioned about, look for extra CPD. There are a lot of health and safety courses you could do in addition to the agri-food technology program you are doing. And when you apply for jobs, for jobs with other people, with other colleagues, they could differentiate you. If you've done health and safety, you've done maybe environmental management courses, environmental safety, it makes you outstanding above. Now, if you look at Ketch experience, she mentioned about having HCPC. Do you know, even as a medical personnel, if you don't have HCPC, you can't get the job in the UK if you're not British. Even the British here as well, if they go for nursing, for instance, they need to register under the NMC, the Nursing and Midwifery Council. If you're a radiographer or a biomedical scientist, you need to have a professional body that will back your experience, that will back your certification, which is what Ketch has mentioned about. And there's one thing, Ketch, you talked about, which is really good, and it's something that I've learned from personal, even though I know that. You mentioned about ignorance is not an excuse. Keep searching, go online, go on the website. In fact,
That's
Google is
true.
your friend, right? That's what I keep telling people. Google is your friend. There's nothing you want to look for on Google. In fact, if you just type on Google, how do I make human being? Even though Google does not know how to make human being, Google will tell you cannot make human being, but people exist. So there's nothing.
Oh my God. Yeah,
There's nothing. Am I correct,
you're so
Kech?
correct. You are. You are.
You know, there's nothing people want to search for that you will not get. So agri-food technology, yes, there are opportunities, but you know, of course, it's not compared to health. Ever since COVID started, a lot of medical professionals, things have been coming into place. Now, as a agri-food technologist, you might be good with nutrition, you might be good with food, you might also know some things, you might want to add that, maybe learning about nutrients in food. And if you get that additional information, it might help you to work in healthcare sector, especially dealing with people who have difficulty in ingesting food, maybe diabetic patients.
Exactly.
Think
The
about something.
nutritionist.
Exactly. Be creative. Do you need to have a nutrition certification to your agri-food technology course that you have? If you're working in a food company, you want to work in a food company in the UK or maybe Canada or the UK later on. In Canada, for instance, maybe for instance you study in the UK, you want to move to Canada. Do you have to have maybe the environmental safety standard certification in Canada? You need to start thinking about those things. Plan ahead, and that's what Kech has mentioned. It's not, you can't just wake up one day and say, I want to get a job immediately I study, I
Exactly.
finish studying. It doesn't work that way. There are CVs to
And I
write.
think just to chip in, this person
Yeah.
is asking the question, but I think the person is saying the person is
Mm.
already in the UK, right? Because I can see the
I
question,
will
right?
assume.
The person is
I
still
will
in the
assume.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So
know. I mean, yeah.
is the person in the UK or the person is not? That's another question. Because if the
Mm.
person is in the UK here, I think, like you have mentioned, you can even work in the nutrition department in the hospital. Do you
Mm.
understand? Just go online and see if there is any, and if there is, what will make you to work there? What are the criteria? If it's one or two courses they need, like you have mentioned, why not do it? So if the person is already in the UK, I think that would be very good.
Yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Kech. I will pick another question here from Chibike mentioning about, some of us may be interested in coming back to Nigeria for marriage. Yes, I might not need to talk about that. I know Kech has mentioned about how to cope if you're married. Now, it's always good if you have a dependent, but I wouldn't force anyone to get married if you're not ready. But when you have a dependent on you as a student, you are just only restricted to 20 hours. It is when you are on 10 time or you finish studies, that's when you can work full time back or doing your post study work visa, doing your graduate visa routes. Yeah.
Mm.
But you have a partner, the person, if you like, let the person work 1,000 hours and decide to even sleep like this at their job. Nobody will owe them because they are dependent. So that's the luck dependents have. But if you have a fiance and you're sure of that person, yes, you can get married. You can bring your spouse after you come in. Kech, you mentioned something about if people are not, maybe if they are not much prepared, if they're thinking about the finance, they can come first. After a few
Yes.
months, they bring,
It,
yes. But
yes, it's true.
I do advise people, don't wait. Let's say if you have a 2 years you have a 2 years visa, don't wait after 1 year, 6 months, and then you have 6 months in your visa. You're not saying you want to bring your wife. They might not grant that person. You have to be very careful. And it now goes down to what Kech mentioned. Please be informed.
Yes.
Be informed. If you want to bring your wife or you want to bring your husband and your kids, plan ahead. You come to study, right? 6 months is not too late. 7 months is not too late. Start preparing for your spouse. In fact, they don't even encourage couples staying apart. It's not easy.
Mhm.
Plan to bring them in. If you wait till your post study and you are bringing one story, one thing, make sure your spouse apply with you before you apply for your post study so that it will not be difficult for that person. You don't have to wait until you have 3 months left in your visa. You're not saying, oh, yes, I want to bring my wife and my husband. They will not grant that. In fact, they will tell you what's the person coming to do when
It's
you only
true.
have 3 months left in your visa. These things are, they are just common thing people should just know normal basis. Now, it's not easy for you to know all these things. And that's where we have shows like this to educate you, to help you. Personally, creating this show, I'm learning. Kech as well, being a guest speaker, sharing our own experience. We are all learning. So I'm also encouraging people, if you have questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions out. Kech, I don't know if is there any points you want to talk about before we call it a day. I'm really
Okay.
conscious of time. I know you're very busy. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say, I just want to encourage us that, in a nutshell of what we have said, you have your own parts. I have my parts. I've explained my own parts. Okay. So, in as much as you're planning, don't rush.
Hmm.
I want to establish it before I go. Don't say, oh, she has said, okay, there's a timeline. There's a timeline to things. Okay. The point I was just trying to make is, are you moving? Are you
Hmm.
moving? Let's say, there's some people that don't have plans to relocate. They're not in my category. There are some people that they don't have, like if you push them from to their kingdom, they won't want to leave their country. It's their choice. They are entitled to their choice. And
mm,
speaking to people that have interest, you have interest of wanting to leave your country of residence to another country, could be UK or Canada or what any country. Are you moving? Have your goals. It could be
mm,
this year or next year, even if it's in the next 5 years. The question is, are you moving? Because to be sincere, things change, rules develop, rules are made.
mm,
Things can rules change. You can just be surprised
mm,
that rules change. Okay, so while
mm,
rules are changing and you're planning, be moving. If it's something that you do not have, and we have mentioned it, let it be part of your goals. Let's say
mm,
you're listening to us and you don't even have an international passport and you want to leave. It should be one of your goals. Like, I need to start this now. Okay.
mm,
Then we talked about CPDs. It may not be as well explained, but I know how it helped me. There are so many
mm,
health and safety that I've done that when I was applying for jobs, I added it to my application.
mm,
Remember that when you're trying to get a job, you are competing with people. You are
mm,
competing with a lot of people that have, what they call experience, like they have been in the profession for long before you. What makes you stand out? In as much as yes, you may have grace. I know I'm a Christian. We have grace on us, but you need to
mm,
also work. You need to also make sure that you have things to back your application. So if you do
mm,
not have all these things, start getting them now.
mm,
So it's not like, oh, you're migrating next month. You can start. If you get this, get that, get that, you're trying, you're doing
mm,
something. So, babe, when it's
mm,
now time to move, all those things you've gotten over the years, you just be surprised that they are now playing like miracle in your presence, like you already have them. So, the point I'm making is don't rush. Don't tell
mm,
yourself, it must be 2023. If it's not 20, yes, it's a goal. A
mm,
goal is like you set it. You can meet it, you
mm,
can near it, you can get close to it, but it's not like a do or die affair. Your mental health
mm,
matters first. So, in as much as you're planning to leave or whatever your plans are, don't
mm,
rush, but make sure you are not where you are. Don't be
mm,
stagnant. If it's one or two things, one or two knowledge, one or two things, just keep adding. It takes little drops to make an ocean. Just keep adding. Just keep
mm,
adding. Before you
mm,
know it, you
mm.
are grounded and you'll be amazed, like, oh, I can do this. I didn't know I can do this. So that's just what I want to mention to our viewers out there. Just make sure
Mm.
you are moving. All right, thank you so much, Yeti, for having
Thank
me
you
on
so
the show.
Thank you so much, Kech. Thank you so much. I hope all our viewers have been able to hear the information. I'm so sorry, Kech will not be able to stay longer because she's very busy, but I promise you, we will
Mhm.
definitely bring her back on the show because, as I mentioned, there are
All right,
more information we need to tap from you, Kech. Thank
no
you
problem.
so much. And I do encourage anyone, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. It's very easy. Like and share this video to anyone who wants to move to the next level. Ketch mentioned something. It takes a drop to make an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you are moving. Are you moving? That's the question you should take away with you. Sorry, we're having a lot of people around us. So, are you moving? Are you moving? And that's a movement you've seen now. You have to move. That's a movement you've seen now. Are you moving? So, please, thank you so much, Ketch. We so
You're
much
welcome.
appreciate you for coming. And for every of our viewers, thank you so much for joining today. I hope you've been able to get all the information you need today. So, Kate, before you leave, is there any final words of maybe words of advice you want to give to our viewers before we call it a
Okay.
day?
Um, I just want to say to our viewers out there, don't give up.
Hmm,
Yes, don't give up, and it takes conceive it in your heart first, then it
hmm,
manifests. And that's because I had always prayed and wanted, I had always wanted to practice in an international standard, even from my childhood. So
hmm,
I had conceived it in my heart first. So if you have that great idea, you'll be looking at yourself, is it possible? It is possible. That's the
hmm.
summary. It is possible. Don't look at yourself that it doesn't matter your background. No, it is what possible. So
Possible.
conceive it in your heart first
Hmm,
and see yourself in an international level. Once you're seeing
hmm.
yourself there, the mind works that way. So that's just what I want to drop for us here. Don't give up. Don't feel that you've done one or two things and it's not working. Do not what give up, and
Give
make
up.
sure that you're moving and moving and moving. And you'll see yourself in the next few years, you'll be here giving us a show of how your own experience was.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kech. Thank you so much, everyone. You're watching. This video will be a live, will still be available rather on YouTube. So please feel free to always go back if you want to listen to what Kech has shared with us today. Go back. If you want to listen to what we have shared today, please just keep going back. Listen to it all the time. Share it to your wife, to your husband, to your friends, to your spouse, to anyone around you. Please don't be the only one listening to this. Share around and encourage people to subscribe to Feel Empowerment with Yeti. Thank you so much, everyone. And we wish you a lovely time ahead. Thank you so much. God bless you, Kech. God
All
bless
right.
you, everyone, for joining us today. And do have a lovely day ahead. And see
Thank
you this time next week. Thank you so
you. All
much,
right.
Kech. Love you
Bye.
all. Bye-bye.
I just You get everybody stay